So, let's talk about love. It's a word we use all the time, but what does it really mean on a spiritual level? Today, we're diving into the Qur'an's take on love. And trust me, it's not just a simple emotion, it's more like a spiritual ladder, one that can completely transform our relationship with the divine. Ready? Let's get into it. All right, here's our game plan. We're going to start with the 3 degrees of love laid out in the Qur'an. Then, we'll break down the roles of the lover and the beloved. Super important. We'll look at what we're naturally drawn to in this world. And then we get to the solution, a path that leads to this incredible role reversal. And you guessed it, the ultimate divine prize. Okay, first up, the 3 degrees of love. See, the Qur'an doesn't just throw the word love around like it's one single thing. Nope. It presents it as a spectrum, a kind of spiritual ladder with 3 very distinct rungs, each one more intense than the last. So the journey starts with muddat. Think of this as the baseline. It's a simple affection, basically just not hating someone. It's the starting point, but then you climb up to hub. Now we're talking. Hub is that powerful, compelling love that actually makes you do things. It drives you, but the absolute peak, the final rung on the ladder is wad. This is the most intense, all-consuming, overwhelming kind of love you can imagine. It's the real deal. Now, to really get these different levels of love, you have to understand the 2 key players in this whole dynamic, the lover and the beloved. Their roles, their mindsets, they're completely different. On one side, you have the lover or muhib. This is the active one. They're the one who yearns, who sacrifices, who is so devoted that their own identity starts to merge with the one they love. Their entire purpose is to please and to give. Then on the other side, you have the beloved, the makbu. This role is passive. They are the object of desire. They receive all that love, and they're the ones who make the demands. It's a simple but really powerful dynamic. One gives, the other receives. And this brings us to a really central challenge. If we're all sort of built to be lovers, what are we naturally wired to love? Well, the Qur'an gets very specific about what our default attractions are. So, let's just ask the question, by our very nature, what are we a muhib of? The answer really gets to the heart of the human spiritual struggle. According to the Qur'an, our spiritual factory settings point our love, our hub, towards 7 specific things. Our spouses, our kids, wealth. You know, piles of gold and silver, fancy transportation, livestock, and land or property. These are the things we are naturally, instinctively drawn to love. And right there, that's the problem. When we are the mohib, the lover of these worldly things, we're in a tough spot. Why? Because our resources, our time, our energy, our money, they're all finite. But our desire for these things, it can be infinite. So we end up on this endless treadmill, chasing and striving and basically exhausting ourselves, trying to please these worldly beloveds that can never ever be fully satisfied. So if that's the default state of struggle, how do we get out of it? Is there a solution? You bet there is. The Qur'an lays out a path, a way to redirect our love and completely flip our spiritual reality. It's called the path of imitation. This one verse is everything. It's the key. It's a deal, an offer. If you truly love God, then the proof, the action you need to take, is to follow me, meaning follow the Prophet Muhammad. And the reward for doing that, it's huge. But the big question here is, what does it really mean to follow? You see, the verse uses a very specific word. It means imitation, not just obedience. And that difference is absolutely crucial. Obedience, or it is about doing what you're told. If someone tells you to trim a piece of cloth, grabbing scissors gets the job done. But that's a whole other level. It's about doing it exactly how the example did it. It's mirroring the method, not just getting the result. The how becomes just as important as the what. There's this amazing story that makes this idea so perfectly clear. Picture this. Umar ibn al-Khattab, one of the Prophet's closest companions, notices that his garment is a bit too long and it's dragging on the round. So he asks his son to bring him something to cut it with. His son, being practical, brings back a pair of scissors. It's the logical choice, right? It'll make a nice, clean, neat cut. It's the obedient thing to do. But Ummah refuses the scissors. He says, I said bring a knife. I saw my prophet use a knife. I will use a knife. Wow, that is perfect at it about what was easiest or neatest. It was about perfectly, exactly emulating the action of the person he loved and followed, right down to the tool he used. That is the depth of imitation we're talking about. So what happens when you commit to this path of perfect imitation? Something absolutely profound happens. It triggers a complete reversal of those cosmic roles we talked about earlier. By making that choice to imitate the prophet, it's like a spiritual switch gets flipped. The human who for their whole life has been the striving, yearning, exhausted lover. Well, they graduate to a completely new station in life. I mean, just look at this transformation. Before it, the human is the lover, the mohib, and God is the beloved, the mahbub. But after you commit to this path of imitation, the roles flip entirely. God becomes the lover, the mohib, and the human. You become the beloved, the mahbub. You literally go from being the one chasing to being the one who is pursued by the divine. And this transformation brings with it the ultimate divine prize. So, what does it actually mean to become the mahbub, the beloved of God? What's the payoff? The rewards are they're staggering. For starters, your sins are forgiven. But it gets even better. You now have a new lover, God, who is infinitely powerful, infinitely resourceful. Your needs, they're met. Your wishes, they're granted. The very fabric of the universe, of time and space, can be influenced on your behalf. All that struggling and striving is over. Your new muhib takes care of everything. And this brings us right back to where we started. Remember that highest degree of love, wadud? This is it. This is the prize. Wadud is that intense, overwhelming love that God, who is the new lover, and whose name is also a wadud, the most loving, showers upon you, the new beloved. You don't just receive love, you receive the highest, most powerful form of love there is. So, at the end of the day, it all comes down to a choice. The path is laid out. Will you remain a lover of the world, stuck on that endless treadmill of striving and wanting? Or will you take the path of imitation to become beloved by the divine? It's a profound question, and the choice is entirely yours.